Hello, I'm Steve Kirkland, Executive Director of the Blue Ridge Literacy Council. We are thrilled to be part of the 7th Annual Bookfest going on this weekend at Blue Ridge Community College. This is the first year that the Literacy Council has partnered with the Community College and the Bookfest and Henderson County Public Library, and we're again thrilled to be part of this venture. Our purpose today is to talk about Blue Ridge Literacy Council, the organization itself as a nonprofit, what it does, who it serves, but also to introduce a very special project. We have a book that's been written that includes stories from our students and tutors. The book is entitled Voices, so we're going to get to meet some of the authors of our book. But first we're going to talk about Blue Ridge Literacy Council. The council has been around for about 25 years. And our mission is that we are dedicated to transforming lives through improved literacy and English communication skills for adult learners. And we do that, our methodology is we take trained, compassionate tutors and we match them one-on-one with students. And these are adult learners, students that are 18 years of age or older, and they meet twice a week for an hour and a half with their tutor, sometimes in small groups, but the real key to our program is the one-to-one relationship. And a lot of our students have been unsuccessful in a traditional classroom setting, and they just seem to thrive when they are together with that trained, compassionate tutor. Our three basic programs are adult basic education for native-born adult learners. We also have English as a second language for folks whose English is not their first language or not native-born. And we have a citizenship preparation class. Those are the three programs of the Literacy Council. With an annual budget of less than $250,000, the Literacy Council depends on volunteer power to drive us. Last year we had almost 150 volunteers work with about 200 students. And those volunteers put in over 16,000 hours. And if you do the math on that, that's the equivalent of 8 additional or 8 full-time staff working with our students. So we're thrilled to have the volunteer base that we have keeping our program going and active. And I mentioned that besides the Literacy Council, we're going to talk about a special project today, so let's do that right now. I'd like to introduce our guest today. First is Kathy Kyle. Kathy is the Basic Skills Coordinator at Blue Ridge Literacy Council, and also Judy Van Rens, who is a volunteer tutor and also was the coordinator for our project Voices. So Kathy, let's start with you, okay? Let's talk about the book project, the idea, where did it come from, what were some of the mechanics about how it got started?
Okay. Several years ago, we put out a book called A Story Worth Telling, and about a year ago, we decided it was time to redo that book. So we, 3 steps were involved, basically, with the project. First, started looking around, talking to other councils across the country about books they had put out with students' stories. Found one in Oklahoma that the state of Oklahoma had put out that we really liked. So kind of used that as a model. Second important step was recruiting Judy here to take on the project, and she did just that and took off running. And then the third step was getting the stories from the students, and without them the book would not have been possible.
Well, you said it, every special project needs a champion, and I know personally that Judy, of course you as a staff role really took the lead role in getting it out of the blocks, but then along came Judy. And we were so delighted that she did, because she really did serve as the driver for this project. So tell us how you did that. What was your role? What were some of the challenges and parts of putting the book together? And just give us a little bit.
Oh, it was an amazing project, and it was something I had been looking for as a passage into retirement too, because I'm a retired teacher and didn't really want to give up education completely. So this was a wonderful answer for me. I remember, when you asked me, it was right after I had, I hadn't been here too long, maybe 3 or 4 months that I'd been here, and I had no idea what I was getting into.
But you didn't know enough to say no.
Right. And I have a history of that. So, and I must have a sign on myself that says that. So, but it was great. And I think at the first we got together and, decided how to communicate with the tutors. We drew up some outlines.
You announced the project, right? You announced it, and then.
Yeah, we announced it and sent a you're really good about communicating with everyone. The Literacy Council is with everybody involved, and with the announcement we set out some guidelines because a lot of the tutors of beginning students were wondering, their first instinct was my student can't do that. But that's not necessarily true. So we set out some guidelines, and we talked about with introductory students who didn't have any confidence that they could talk to their tutors and have the tutors dictate and write out the story and then work with them that way. And then we had a level for intermediate students where the student would do the writing, but the tutor would help them a lot more than with the advanced students. They had a little more leeway to do on their own and then just maybe have the tutor proofread.
So you had to coach and cajole, and in just a couple of minutes that we have left, did you help edit stories?
Oh yeah. So first of all, I think I called every tutor twice to get them involved, and then there was another volunteer who helped edit all the stories, and we had decided that we would treat this like a professional production and make sure that the stories were edited rather than just taking the initial words of the students. I remember thinking I would not want my mistakes published in a book, so I hope that somebody will correct me. And all authors have that. They have many people read their books and try to.
And you got to experience that yourself,
yeah.
Because you wrote the foreword, and I believe there was some editing done with.
Right, there was some editing, and there were a couple of students that dictated to me that that had been hesitant. I met with them. I remember coming in that one day and trying to talk to a tutor, and he didn't really seem enthusiastic. And I said, "Well, let me talk to the student." It was Harry. Let me talk to the student, and we talked for a few minutes. I have a lot of experience with trying to draw writing out of kids because I was a high school English teacher, and so we came up with some stuff.
Well, so you got it done. The book was produced. This is the book.
And then the title. That was another issue. How do we find a title? Do you remember that we had a list bouncing off the first one, which was Stories Worth Telling, and we had some variations of that, and then Voices of Learning, or we had all kinds of things with voices, and then we just kind of landed it.
And we have on the cover is Diane, one of our students, and her story's in the book, and this is her great-granddaughter and their own steps. So we thought about the steps to learning as being behind the picture.
Right, and then some of the stories had titles, some did not. So we
let's
had to
do
work
this.
with
I think it's probably time to move on to our next segment where we actually get to hear from some of the students who contributed to the book, and we really look forward to Judy, you interviewing 3 of our students from our book stories. So thank you for tuning in, and have a good day.
Welcome back. We're very lucky to have 3 of our authors who are outstanding representatives of the essence of what is possible through the Blue Ridge Literacy Council. May I present to you Olga Escobar, Michelle Edmonds, and Alejandra Osorio. Thank you. I will now ask each of them to share some of their experiences that they wrote about in our book Voices. I'll start with Olga. Mm-hmm. Olga, you came to us for help in transitioning in your professional life from Colombia to the United States. I know there are many people who come here and face the issue of transferring of professional materials, professional certification and licensing from one country to another. What advice would you give someone from another country who wanted to transfer their nursing certification to this country?
For the people that had studies in another country, it's very important that they provide the information that they are going to need to get the license in the United States. Then my advice is that they provide all the information that they need about the study that they did in their native country.
Yeah, so when you're still in your native country, is that a good time to gather that information?
You need to start it there when you are in your native language, in your native country, to start to put together all the education information and everything that you need to bring.
Right, that's good. So what was the most challenging part of that process of transferring your certification?
I think that the most challenging part was put all the information together. You need to start for your school classes, came back to your school to ask for your title there when you finish high school, and then go to university to request all the information about education, provide all the information that they need in the United States.
It's a lot of detail when
it's
you're still
detail.
Also packing to move your life to another country. So how many years or how long have you been involved with the Literacy Council?
I think that around 6 or 7 years.
Okay, a long time.
Yeah.
And what's an example of how the Literacy Council helped prepare you for your professional life? Because you are involved as a nurse at this time.
Yeah. I had asked for help in different situations at the Literacy Council. The first time that I asked for help was to get my registered nurse license and be able to work as a nurse here in the United States. I received all the support and help to pass two very difficult tests, and I was able to get my registered nurse license. Actually, I am working as a registered nurse.
Yeah. And you mentioned how, you know, the Literacy Council helping you master English has helped you in your duties a little bit.
Yeah, for me it was very challenging to be able to communicate in a good level with my patients. Then the second time that I asked for help was to improve my communication skills.
Right.
And I had a wonderful tutor that helped me to raise my communication skill and improve my pronunciation.
That's great. And you know, as I read your story, I found out the Literacy Council had helped you on a more personal level too.
Yeah, later on, I decided that was time to get my citizenship to be able to participate on the decision of the country. That for me was important. Then I asked for help again to get ready for the test to get the citizenship, and again I received a wonderful answer, and I got my citizenship. And in this moment, I am able to vote.
Thank you very much. Now let's. Wait a minute. I did have one other question for you. I've got too many questions here. Okay. What was the most challenging part of writing your story? Because you were one of our writers.
I think that with pronunciation to write is one of the things that is harder for me. Then just to sit down and start to write in English, it was very difficult. And even actually, I am still taking classes, looking to raise my level of writing and be able to maybe get a master's degree in the future.
Wow. I can't imagine, because I have always had a difficult time with other languages, and I admire you so much for conquering this and being so clear, and I can understand you very well, and your writing was wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Let's go on to Michelle. Michelle, in your story, you talk about how the Literacy Council has helped you reach your goal, your first goal of reading a novel. It looks like you were pretty efficient about reaching that goal, because I understand now that you've read 6 novels. And how long have you been at the Literacy Council? Not much more than a year, right?
Right.
Right. So that's amazing, when you couldn't even read a novel when you started. What were the names of some of the books that you read?
I read Sounder, Chains, Yellow Fever, Stone Fox.
That's okay. You know, if you got a favorite one?
Stone Fox. The reason I like Stone Fox is because he had a lot of courage. He had to get out and have courage to help save the farm.
Wow, that's a neat story. So how long did you say you've been with the Literacy Council?
8 months.
8 months, wow. So, and that's an amazing distance. And as far as receiving or achieving so many goals, I read in your story how much you accomplished in the first 5 months. And usually they measure that by testing. How much did you accomplish in that time? Do you remember, or do I have it here?
I accomplished a lot. I learned how to read magazines, and I learned how to read a newspaper. I've been able to go to the library and get a library card. The library is like a magical place. You can go in and check out books. I've learned a lot on the computers at the Literacy Council, and that's what I did.
Yeah, and what I read was, or maybe Kathy told me, you went from a 4th grade reading level to an 8th grade reading level in the first 5 months.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that's amazing. How has this changed, this learning to read changed you, changed the way you like? I guess you talked about it a little bit, but have you got any other things to
I have
add?
more confidence now. I'm able to speak in the public now. I'm not afraid. I'm not scared anymore. If I have questions, I don't have to raise my hand to ask questions now.
Right, that's wonderful. And you're an example of someone who you graduated from high school, but you really couldn't learn how to read.
I couldn't comprehend.
That breaks my heart as a high school teacher, but I understand that it's a problem, and maybe it's changing now, but it was a problem when you were going through. I can remember being told to pass kids along. So how wonderful that you found this resource that would help you get where you should have been.
Yeah.
So can you give us an example of how involvement in the Literacy Council has changed the way you operate and the way you feel about yourself?
Yes. I think that you have to work hard and come every day and put in the time with your tutor. And I think that the Literacy Council has really helped me. All the staff and the tutors has pointed us in directions to go in.
And how did you feel there was a banquet, and the staff was very secretive about they were going to announce the book at a big banquet in the fall. And how did you feel when you saw
excited.
the book and saw your writing in print?
Yeah, so excited. That's an honor to me for somebody that couldn't comprehend what they read. It's a true honor to see that all the other people that I wasn't alone, everybody else needed help also.
So what was the most challenging part of writing your story, do you think?
I think the most challenging part was to making sure that I got everything that I needed to put in the story, what I wanted to tell.
That requires a lot of organization, and it's. I used to teach people how to do that, but it's
very hard.
Really hard, and you make notes, you try to think back, and it's a very difficult thing to do. Well, thank you. We want to make sure to have time for Alejandra, so let's talk to you a minute. I was so touched when I read your essay about your journey in this country after you came in 2005. But I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because it looks like in 2013, after working with the Literacy Council, you not only got your GED, but your CNA certificate and a passing score on the state nurse's aid exam. That's amazing. You did that all in 1 year?
Yes.
Wow.
Well,
as you look back on the year, which of these challenges was the most difficult?
yes. Thank you for letting me share my exceptional experience passing through with Literacy Council, which gave me an exceptional support all the time. And well, I can tell you the goals that I proposed in 2013 was so difficult for me. But I think the much difficult was when I been already in the CNA course, because I was in the classroom, with the whole speaking English, reading English, listening English, studying in English. So I think that it's a tremendous challenge for Spanish speakers. So that's my biggest
Oh, I can understand
challenge,
that
I
because when you were studying for your GED, you were studying with one tutor, and you know that provides for interaction and sensing each other. But you were in a classroom of what, 20 people or more?
No, I think in my class we only have 12.
Okay, but still, you know,
Still, yeah.
were you the only non-English speaker in the class?
We have another lady there,
Okay.
but I think she born in this country, so she was
she-
able
she
to.
had the
Yeah,
mastery
she was
and
in the
the-
school here and everything.
Because it
so-
takes a long time to.
yes, yes.
Do both of you who came from other countries, do you feel like you think in English now? I always have to. I'm just throwing that in.
I believe I am.
Yeah, but it's very difficult,
Yeah.
and it takes a long time to get to
I
that
believe
part.
I am.
I think. So in your story, you wrote about how in 2014, after achieving all this, and I'm just amazed that you did all that in 1 year, that you felt like you were a more confident and secure woman because of your accomplishments and because of the Literacy Council. Can you give an example of how you feel like you're more confident?
Well, when I start the new year with a license for work and, you know, the whole knowledge and the college course, so that made me more secure, you know, what I might do. And also I break the fear to speak in English, so that helped me to feel secure in what I do in my job and my life. Also, in coming to talk in a regular conversation, I feel more freedom to do, you know.
And you have to do that in your job too.
Yes.
You know, as you know, you're dealing with all kinds of people, but most of it's in English, I assume. Is that
Totally, I think.
all of it
Yeah,
is in
all of it.
English? So in the Voices book, you talk about the Literacy Council and how they helped you reach your professional goal. Can you tell us a little bit about
Yes,
how the
I
Literacy Council
bless
helped
my
you?
Lord because they put this opportunity in my hands, and Literacy Council gave me an amazing support. And I have this incredible tutor, Catherine Roger, who is handling my hand all the time, every minute, and every process. You know, the whole thing happened in 2013. That was in 4 months, because I started taking my classes for writing and reading in English. But then I say, okay, I want to jump to the new goals. So that happened in 4 months. And this woman be an amazing person, amazing teacher. And Cindy Jefferson also, she helped a lot in everything, or what my plan was. They offer incredible support, material, and everything, you know, resource, everything. I don't have any complaint about that because they always say yes when you need a help.
I agree because you know,
Yes.
I'm a tutor there, and anytime I need anything, and I see them, you know, they're used to being interrupted all the time. They'll be having headphones on, listening to something, and you go and they just drop whatever they're doing to help you out. It's and they have the resources too. I'm usually looking for new books to help my student, and they have that too. So, so that's great. Now I remember you from the banquet. And you had an honor there. What was your honor at the banquet? You were
Student of the Year.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So how did you feel when? I also remember the joy on people's faces when they were
Yeah.
introduced as published authors. How did you feel when that moment happened?
Really surprised me, but I feel, proud and really happy. I enjoy to see my story, but I also enjoy to read other people's story, because when I came to Literacy Council, I believe that I'm old, 31 years.
Not old.
Old to come back to school, So that's my mentality. So I'm already past my time to go in college. So, and when I read the stories that's in the book, the people who make the dreams to start learning, reading, or writing in English is amazing. It's a big motivation for my life. So I think I feel pride for me and for other authors in the book.
Every student I meet feels that way, and every tutor feels like they are getting just as much out of it as you are. I think this Literacy Council is a wonderful gift. I think, does anyone else have anything they want to add in praise of the Literacy Council?
I want to support what Alejandra said, that the Literacy Council always is looking to answer your question and help you to reach your goals. They are wonderful. With anything that you need, they go farther to look for help and help you to get your goals.
That's great. And for us, for me, I'm a retired teacher, and I was looking for some way to continue this, and it meets my needs too, and the pleasure that I get out of seeing progress, and it's a challenge for me too, and I enjoy it so much. I'm just not sitting around. I have a purpose and a goal in my retirement, and I enjoy that. We'll wind this up. Now that you've heard from these three ladies, we'll hope you want to read this book, which contains reflections from about 50 students and tutors. I know for me, working with these intelligent, courageous people, trying to better their lives like we all are, has been a wonderful experience. And I admire and respect how you all meet challenges. I hope I do it as well as you do. So I'm very thankful to have been part of this, making this book and the Literacy Council. It was an amazing experience for me. I was asked to, get this book going along with the staff, and it was wonderful to meet all you, and inspiring to meet all of you who have worked with the Literacy Council and are moving forward, making this world a better place. I'll wind up by referring you to this book, Voices, and if you want to purchase this book and get involved in this experience, or maybe come and volunteer at the Literacy Council, the information that you will need will be on the screen, and there's a wonderful staff and wonderful students that I've made so many friends there just by working with this. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You are watching BRCC TV, the education channel.